Howdy y'all, you got the Bulldog on the channel. I don't take on very many home projects anymore, but I don't guess this qualifies because I'm not at home. I'm at this guy's shop. He had a family member. Had some issues. I didn't film any of the repair, but I'm going to show you what we did and why. Now, first of all, the shifter was hung up. It went bang going down the road, and the shifter was hung up. Get it here and get to looking at it, like, well, something must have gone wrong in the transmission, because you can let out on the clutch and it just spins the drive shaft, or you put it in gear and let out on the clutch and just sit there and the drive shaft didn't spin. Okay, now we get it in the shop here and I get the transmission pulled out of it, and first thing I notice is, I got it in high gear and I'm spinning it and it's spinning the tail shaft. Okay, that's all hooked up. So I roll back in underneath the truck and look into the bell housing, and sure enough, the clutch has exploded. I mean, exploded. So, all right, we blew the clutch apart. I get to pull the helmet off the back of the bell housing. This is a Loadstar 1700, a bit mid-70s. So the engine is mounted front and back, and the transmission just hangs on the back. Even though everything is big and heavy, it is easy to work on. So I've got the clutch helmet off. I pull the pressure plate out and all the pieces start falling out. And I get that out there and I look at the flywheel, and the flywheel is worse than I have ever seen, ever. Okay, that's probably why the clutch blew apart. All them cracks in the flywheel made the clutch chatter, and it eventually just gave it up. Was he shifting when this happened? It's like, no, he was just running down the road in road gear. Kind of odd. But I never thought anything about it because the clutch was blown to pieces and the flywheel was horrible. Well, they get a new clutch and they get a new flywheel, and I come out here night before last, 2 nights ago, and I get the clutch all put in, and I get the night after that, I get ready to put the transmission in, and I shift it into high gear. And when I do that, I'm trying to rotate the input shaft. It didn't go to neutral. I shifted it into neutral. It won't go into neutral. So I start messing around with things, and you can only put it into high gear. None of the other gears worked at all. Great. So we pull the top plate on the transmission. We're messing around with it. This shaft right here, one of these is first gear, one of them's reverse, but you can shift it forward, but it will not shift back. What has happened is this center shaft has become welded to the tail shaft internally. When it comes to rebuilding that, you're going to have more money in a rebuild, or in trying to get this thing apart and trying to rebuild this one, than you would in another one. So yesterday they called around and they found a transmission, and it was here last night. Come out today, we got that one all ready to go, made sure all the gears work, got it slid up in the truck, we're good to go. But these jobs, I mean, farmers do them all the time, where they have somebody that knows what they're doing, or they do it themselves. He helped me on this job. We had to put a carrier bearing in it also. It was blown to pieces, or going to blow to pieces. The rubber was ripped clear out of it. The only thing I had to bring was a transmission jack that could handle that great big 5-speed cast iron transmission. So yeah, it's something that I still do. I'm just selective about who I do it for. We did have to fix the parking brake right here. That one was floating around like this and had a bolt broke off in it. We didn't have good enough drill bits to drill that out. All it has to do is hold this thing steady, so I just drilled it into the broken bolt as far as I could. And we put a smaller bolt and a nut and set it up here, and so it is sticking back in the hole and it doesn't float back and forth anymore. You can still get these parts. They weren't all that high. The clutch and pressure plate was the most expensive thing on the whole deal. I had to get a clutch, pressure plate, and flywheel. So we did have some people buy. It took me a day to find out exactly what this transmission was. It was a Borg-Warner build for International. It's a T36 5-speed transmission. It's a 4-speed with a granny low. That's why first gear and reverse are both straight cut, because they're big bow gears. You don't move anything with them, and the straight cut gears are stronger. So that's why they put a straight cut gear on first gear. But I just want to get on here and talk a little bit and let you know what I'm doing. I still do this stuff, but it's heavy, it's dirty. I start sweating even thinking about it. So I don't do it near as much as I used to anymore. But hope you got some insight into what mechanics do on their downtime. This is my downtime. Like, comment, subscribe, hit your little bell notification, share it all around. We'll talk to you later.